Europe looks east. For decades, Western powers like the G7 and NATO, led by the United States, shaped global decisions. But today, October 21, 2025, the balance is shifting. BRICS, a group seeking a multipolar world, is rising in influence. It offers an alternative for nations dissatisfied with the Western-led system. The most surprising development? European countries are now eyeing BRICS membership. Hungary, an EU member, and Turkey, a NATO ally and EU candidate, are interested in BRICS. This marks the first time countries so closely tied to the West are considering joining a group seen as a rival. Their interest signals a major shift. Even within the Western system, nations are seeking new partners and greater autonomy. BRICS offers them a way to balance ties, maintaining Western connections while opening doors to the East and global South. The old lines dividing East and West are blurring, and the world is becoming truly multipolar. Why are countries like Hungary interested in joining a group like BRICS+? The answer lies in the shifting balance of global power and the promise of new opportunities. As the world's traditional alliances face challenges, many nations are looking for fresh partnerships that can offer economic growth, political influence, and a stronger voice on the world stage. Just look at BRICS's explosive growth over the past 2 decades. Once considered a loose coalition of emerging economies, BRICS has rapidly transformed into a major global player, driving innovation, investment, and development across continents. It all began with Brazil, Russia, India, and China, 4 countries with huge populations and fast-growing economies. South Africa joined in 2010, expanding the group's reach to the African continent and giving birth to the acronym BRICS. For years, BRICS was seen as a modest club, often overshadowed by the powerful G7 nations. The G7 dominated global finance and politics, while BRICS quietly built its own networks and influence. But everything changed with the recent expansion. The group opened its doors to new members, signaling a bold new era and a challenge to the old world order. Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the UAE, and Indonesia joined, transforming BRICS into BRICS+. This expansion brought together countries from Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, making the group more diverse and influential than ever before. Now, BRICS+ represents nearly 45% of the world's population and over 35% of global economic output, surpassing the G7 in some measures. Its combined markets, resources, and labor force are reshaping the global economy. The group controls vast resources from oil and gas to rare minerals essential for modern technology. This gives BRICS+ enormous leverage in global supply chains and energy markets. New members bring not just economic power, but also strategic weight, expanding the group's reach into new regions and increasing its influence in global affairs. Iran's defiance of the US and its strategic position in the Middle East add a new dimension to BRICS+. Egypt and Ethiopia bring African influence and access to vital waterways, the UAE adds immense wealth and global connectivity, and Indonesia's regional power strengthens the group's presence in Asia. BRICS+ is now a global giant, impossible to ignore. Its members span continents, cultures, and political systems, making it a truly unique alliance. Its diversity and scale make it a formidable force in world affairs, capable of shaping the future of trade, diplomacy, and development. The world's power map is being redrawn, and BRICS+ is at the center of this historic transformation. Why are so many countries eager to join BRICS? In recent years, the group has attracted growing interest from nations across Africa, Asia, and Latin America. But what's driving this surge? The answer is complex, but it boils down to a mix of economic ambition, political influence, and the desire for greater independence on the world stage. It's about money, power, and independence. Many countries see BRICS as a gateway to new economic opportunities, from increased trade to access to investment and development funds. For emerging economies, joining BRICS can mean a seat at the table with some of the world's fastest-growing markets. Many feel the Western-led financial system, dominated by the US dollar, doesn't serve their interests. Smaller economies often find themselves vulnerable to currency fluctuations, high borrowing costs, and policies set by Western powers. BRICS offers alternatives. The new development bank provides loans with fewer strings attached, making it easier for developing countries to fund infrastructure and social projects without the heavy conditions imposed by traditional lenders like the IMF or World Bank. And members are trading more in their own currencies, reducing their dependence on the dollar and building stronger regional ties. This shift helps countries stabilize their economies and keep more control over their financial systems. This reduces reliance on the dollar and shields them from Western sanctions. When countries face economic pressure or sanctions from the West, BRICS membership can offer a lifeline, allowing them to keep trading and growing. Politically, BRICS gives the Global South a louder voice. It's a chance for developing nations to shape global rules, rather than just follow them, and to push for reforms in international institutions, and a platform to demand change, whether it's fairer trade, more say in global governance, or new approaches to development. For sanctioned nations like Russia and Iran, BRICS is a shield against isolation. It's a way to maintain international partnerships and avoid being cut off from global markets. The real draw is strategic autonomy, the ability to make independent choices in a world where alliances and rivalries are constantly shifting, the freedom to choose partners and paths. For many, joining BRICS isn't about turning away from the West, but about having more leverage and more options in a competitive, unpredictable world. In the end, BRICS represents hope for a more balanced global order, one where every country, big or small, can have a say in shaping the future. BRICS isn't a unified bloc, it's a forum of competing interests. While the group is often portrayed as a single force challenging the West, the reality is far more complex. Each member brings its own priorities, ambitions, and even rivalries to the table, making consensus a constant negotiation. China and Russia, for example, are eager to build a strong counterweight to the US and Europe. They advocate for new financial systems and digital payment networks that operate outside Western influence, hoping to reduce their vulnerability to sanctions and dollar dominance. Their vision is one of strategic competition, where BRICS becomes a platform to challenge the existing global order. India and Brazil, on the other hand, have a different approach. Rather than direct confrontation, they push for reform within the global system. Their goal is a multipolar world where developing nations have a bigger say, but without burning bridges with the West. They see BRICS as a way to amplify their voices and advocate for fairer international rules. India, in particular, walks a diplomatic tightrope. It maintains strong ties with the US, yet remains cautious of China's growing influence. For India, it's crucial that BRICS doesn't become a club dominated by Beijing's interests. This balancing act shapes its every move within the group. The recent expansion of BRICS has brought in new voices like the UAE and Egypt. These countries are less interested in taking sides in global power struggles. Instead, they're looking for economic opportunities, investment, and the flexibility to work with both East and West. The UAE, for instance, is a master of pragmatic diplomacy. It partners with both the US and China, seeking to maximize its economic growth and global influence without getting caught in geopolitical crossfire. For these new members, joining BRICS is about diversifying partnerships, gaining access to new markets, and ensuring they have a seat at every major international table. It's a strategic move to broaden their options in an uncertain world. Ultimately, BRICS is less a united front and more a platform where diverse ambitions, priorities, and worldviews collide and sometimes cooperate. It's a space for negotiation, not uniformity. The group's greatest strength and its biggest challenge lies in managing these differences. Every summit is a test of whether these competing visions can be balanced for collective progress. As BRICS looks to the future, its success will depend on how well it can navigate internal divisions and turn diversity into a source of strength, rather than discord. BRICS' appeal is clear. 46 countries have shown interest and 23 have formally applied. Nations like Myanmar and Laos hope BRICS will bring technology and financing without Western political strings. Partner countries such as Nigeria, Malaysia, and Thailand are building closer ties before full membership. But not everyone joins. Argentina declined after a government change, choosing to align with the West. Saudi Arabia, expected to join, quietly withdrew, prioritizing Western investment for its Vision 2030 plan. These choices show that joining BRICS is complex. Each country weighs its own interests. The expansion is not automatic, it's a careful calculation. BRICS is building a network, but not every nation is ready to make the leap. The West can no longer ignore BRICS' rise. Once dismissed as a talking shop, BRICS Plus is now seen as a real challenge to Western dominance. The US, especially under the Trump administration, has threatened tariffs to deter a BRICS common currency. Such tactics can backfire, pushing countries further toward BRICS. The G7 is taking a softer approach, inviting key BRICS members to summits to keep them engaged. The West is divided. Some push confrontation, others diplomacy. This lack of unity makes it harder to counter BRICS' appeal. As BRICS grows, the US and its allies must rethink their strategies in a changing world. Hungary and Turkey's interest in BRICS is a wake-up call for Europe. For decades, European unity and US alliance were unshakable. Now cracks are showing. Some nations want new options. Hungary's Eastern opening policy signals it won't rely solely on the EU. Turkey, frustrated with stalled EU membership, seeks influence through BRICS while staying in NATO. This trend could weaken Europe's collective power and unity. BRICS' expansion forces Europe to ask, is the Western-led order still working for everyone? The challenge is no longer distant, it's at Europe's doorstep. The world is undergoing a profound transformation. The unipolar era of US dominance is over. We're in a multipolar age, with BRICS at the center. BRICS now represents nearly half the world's population and a huge share of its economy. Its appeal is broad economic opportunity, political voice, and strategic autonomy. But BRICS is not monolithic. Internal divisions shape its path. The West's response is mixed, from confrontation to engagement. The most striking shift, even EU and NATO countries are drawn to BRICS, challenging old alliances. The days of Western nations setting the rules alone are ending. The sands of global power are shifting fast.